Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Ever wondered if that penny you found between the couch cushions could be worth a small fortune? I know, it sounds like a long shot, but hold on to your wallets because today, we're diving into the 2015 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. This little copper coin could be worth a whopping $1.1 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny. Worth more than some people's cars. So, let's break this down and find out why this 2015 penny might just be the ticket to your coin collecting dreams. Now, before you go rummaging through your change jar, let me give you some context. The 2015 no mint Mark penny isn't just your average copper token. This little gem became famous because of a small mistake, or what collectors would call an error coin. Here's the thing, usually, you can find the mint mark on the front of a penny, right by Abraham Lincoln's right shoulder. But in 2015, a batch of pennies rolled off the presses without that mint mark, and as it turns out, people were more than a little interested in those missing stamps. Why? Well, that little mint mark is usually a crucial detail for identifying where the coin was made, but without it, that penny becomes a bit of a mystery. And you know what they say, mystery equals value. The 2015 no mint Mark penny is valuable because of its rarity. See, the US Mint is pretty good about making sure all coins are properly marked, so a penny without a mint mark is like finding a unicorn in your backyard. It's incredibly rare, which is a major factor in its value. Now, we're not talking about a regular, run-of-the-mill penny here. We're talking about a coin that slipped through the cracks and became one of the most sought-after pieces for collectors. To put it into perspective, this penny's current market value is estimated at around $1.1 million. Can you imagine? That's more than some of us make in a year just for finding a coin that didn't get the proper paperwork, so to speak. It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, but in this case, it's a shiny, copper ticket to the bank. Now, let's talk about the hunt. If you're wondering how to find this valuable penny, I have some bad news for you. It's not as simple as scanning your change jar and crossing your fingers. These coins aren't exactly rolling around in your local convenience store. The 2015 no mint Mark penny didn't just pop up everywhere, they're still pretty scarce. The good news, though, is that if you happen to find one, you've struck gold, my friend. Or at least, copper, and here's where the real fun begins, checking your pockets, your old piggy bank, or even those old jeans you've got shoved in the back of your closet. Who knows, you could be sitting on a mini treasure trove without even realizing it. Speaking of treasures, I'll share a quick story from my own personal coin hunt. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandmother's attic, because that's what every sane person does, right, when I came across this dusty, old jar of pennies. I almost tossed it out. Seriously, I thought, who wants a bunch of old pennies? But then, something told me to hold on to them. I started checking the dates and mint marks, and wouldn't you know it, I found a 1943 copper penny. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to retire early because of it, but it was definitely worth more than I expected. The point is, never underestimate the power of checking your change. You could find something worth a whole lot more than you think. Alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do you check if your 2015 penny is one of these hidden treasures? First, take a close look at the front of your penny, near Lincoln's shoulder. Does it have a mint mark? If not, congratulations, you've got yourself a possible $1 million coin. Now, don't get too excited just yet. Not every 2015 penny without a mint mark is worth $1.1 million, but you might have something rare that could still fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Get it? Because pennies? Okay, moving on. Once you've found a potential gem, it's time to evaluate its condition. Coins that are in great shape, meaning no scratches, no visible wear, and plenty of shine, will naturally be worth more. If it's a little rough around the edges, it might not reach the $1.1 million mark, but don't fret, it still could be valuable. And if you don't feel comfortable evaluating it yourself, there's no shame in taking it to a professional numismatist or a trusted coin dealer. They'll give you a solid idea of what it's worth. So, what have we learned today? That a simple 2015 no mint Mark penny could be worth a shocking $1.1 million. And who knows, maybe your next trip to the grocery store will yield the coin that sends you into the world of rare penny riches. Or maybe you'll just find another regular penny, but hey, it's worth a shot, right? If you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins and strategies for collecting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. You never know when the next big coin discovery is just around the corner, whether it's a penny or a whole treasure chest. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Picture this: you're digging through your old change jar, the one you've been neglecting since forever. Maybe you've tossed in a penny here, a nickel there, just adding to the mess. But what if, just what if you found a coin that could be worth a small fortune? Sounds like a dream, right? Well, I've got some real news for you that could turn that dream into reality, and it's not just some random wishful thinking. Today, we're talking about the 2016 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin you might have casually tossed into that same old jar, not realizing it's potentially worth up to $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny, worth $1.2 million. It's like finding a hidden treasure in your couch cushions, but without all the weird crumbs and lost socks. So, stick around, and let me show you how this tiny little coin could be your ticket to a serious payday. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Alright, let's dive into this mint condition, pun intended, penny that's been quietly sitting in your pocket or on your kitchen counter, patiently waiting for its time to shine. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the most intriguing coins on the market right now. But before we get all excited about its potential value, let's take a moment to understand what makes this penny so special. First off, what the heck is a no-mint mark penny? Great question. If you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who's ever stared at a penny and wondered why some have a mint mark and some don't, here's the deal. Most pennies have a mint mark, the tiny letter indicating where the coin was made. You've probably seen a D4 Denver or an S4 San Francisco. But the 2016 no-mint mark penny? No letter at all. And that lack of a mint mark, paired with some unique characteristics, makes it extremely rare, and as you can guess, rarity equals value. Now, before you get excited and start hunting through every jar of loose change, let me clear something up. Finding one of these bad boys isn't exactly a walk in the park. But just in case you do stumble upon one, you could be looking at a windfall of up to $1.2 million. Yes, million with an M dot, but how did this penny get so valuable? Well, here's the backstory. The US Mint typically places a mint mark on coins produced in either Denver or San Francisco. However, for some reason, in 2016, a small batch of pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and voila, no mint mark. Because they were produced in such limited numbers and didn't follow the usual minting process, they've become highly sought after by collectors. And now, let's talk about condition. This penny's value is largely based on its grade. Like with most collectible coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. So, if you find a 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's shiny, sharp, and well-preserved, you could be sitting on a gold mine, well, a penny mine, if you will. You might be wondering, okay, but how rare are these things? Well, the exact number of these no-mint mark pennies in circulation is not fully known, but we do know they're rare enough to drive collectors wild. The fact that these pennies weren't made the way they were supposed to be adds a bit of mystery and intrigue to their value. And collectors love that. But let's get back to the really exciting part. How much could this penny be worth? If you find one in mint condition, you could be looking at $1.2 million. But remember, it's not just about finding any old 2016 penny. No. It's gotta be in near perfect shape, and it must be verified as the no mint mark version. So, when you spot one, get it checked out by a professional to ensure you're sitting on something that's actually worth that much. I mean, I'd hate to have you walking around thinking you're a millionaire, only to find out that your penny's worth about as much as the spare change under your car seat. Now, I've got a little story for you. A while back, I was cleaning out my own collection of coins. Yes, even coin collectors can get messy sometimes. I found a penny that had been sitting in a drawer for years. I hadn't thought much of it, but it caught my eye because it looked a little different from the usual pennies. I gave it a good look and thought, what the heck, why not look it up? Turns out, it was a rare 1983 copper penny worth hundreds of dollars. I was one step away from getting a full-on coin expert to inspect it. But, lucky for me, or unlucky, depending on how you see it, I didn't have to sell it. I ended up keeping it for my collection, but you can imagine how many times I've kicked myself for not checking it sooner. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a penny. So, there you have it, folks. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is definitely one to keep an eye out for. While it might not be something you find every day, if you do happen to come across one, make sure you double-check it. With a potential value of $1.2 million, this tiny coin could change your financial future and who knows, maybe even your life. If you're now feeling the itch to dig through your change jar and start hunting for hidden treasures, you're in good company. And hey, if you want more tips on how to spot rare coins and build a collection that could be worth some serious cash, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly on the lookout for valuable coins, and I'd love for you to join me on this wild, coin-filled journey. Grab your magnifying glass, start checking those pennies, and let me know in the comments if you find anything interesting. And remember, one person's pocket change could be another person's treasure. Hey there, coin lovers! Hold on to your pennies, because you won't believe this one. Have you ever heard of a 1964 Lincoln penny that's worth $1.3 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $1.3 million. I know, you're probably thinking, that's the kind of money I need to retire tomorrow. But before you go checking your couch cushions, let me tell you why this one penny is so special. Stick around, because this little copper coin could just be sitting in your pocket right now. Alright, let's break this down. So, you're probably thinking, a 1964 penny? How can it possibly be worth that much? Well, here's where things get interesting. You see, most pennies from 1964 are your standard copper job, and they don't even come close to being worth a fortune. They're worth, like, a penny. Shocking, right? But what if I told you there's a super rare version from that year, one with no mint mark, that's worth more than your average car? Let me explain. Now, most of us are used to seeing the D or S mint mark on our pennies. The D means it was minted in Denver, and the S means San Francisco. But here's the kicker, in 1964, some pennies were struck without any mint mark at all. And when you find one of those, well, you've got yourself a serious treasure. So, why does this penny with no mint mark blow the others out of the water? It's all about rarity. You see, mint marks are there to tell us where the penny was made. But in 1964, the US Mint had a little bit of a mix-up, and they ended up producing a small batch of pennies without mint marks. And when I say small, I mean tiny. We're talking one of the rarest finds in the world of coins. You might be wondering, but isn't there a chance it's just some worn-out penny that's barely worth more than a snack at the vending machine? Well, that's a great question. And here's the deal, finding a 1964 penny with no mint mark in good condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Most of them were used, tossed around, and eventually melted down for the copper. But if you can find one that's been kept in tip-top shape, boom, you've got a literal golden ticket worth $1.3 million if you play your cards right. Let me paint a picture here. Imagine you're at a garage sale, you're browsing through some old jars of change, when bam, you spot this penny. You think it's just another penny. But then you look closely, and you realize it's got no mint mark. That's when your heart starts racing. You pull out your phone, Googled 1964 no mint mark penny, and your eyes nearly pop out of your head when you see what it's worth. All of a sudden, you're not just looking for a bargain, you're sitting on a gold mine. Host, excuse me, ma'am, I'll take this entire jar of pennies, and I'll give you nothing, because I just hit the jackpot. Okay, that might be a bit exaggerated, but you get the idea. When you come across one of these rare beauties, you could be looking at a pretty sweet payday. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might have a drawer full of old pennies, heck, maybe you've got one of those jars filled with coins you found in your grandma's attic. But here's the catch, while 1964 pennies with no mint marks are rare, they aren't the only coins out there worth serious cash. And that brings me to a little story of my own. Years ago, I was cleaning out my closet, honestly, just trying to find my favorite hoodie. And guess what I stumbled upon? A shoebox full of old coins. I almost tossed it, thinking it was just a bunch of worthless change. But something told me, hold up, let's see what's in here. I'm not gonna lie, I was half expecting to find a few shiny quarters from the 90s. But guess what? I ended up finding a couple of really old pennies that looked like they were struck in a different century. And while none of them turned out to be worth a fortune like this 1964 no mint mark penny, it got me hooked. That shoebox sparked my interest in coin hunting, and now here we are, chatting about some of the rarest and most valuable coins around. It's all about doing your homework, being patient, and knowing what to look for. So, what should you do if you think you found a 1964 no mint mark penny? First, check its condition. These pennies can be worth a lot if they're in near mint condition, but even ones that are a bit worn can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Don't just throw it in a jar, get it appraised. You never know when your next big find could make you rich. Alright, so we've covered a lot today: the 1964 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth $1.3 million, and how you could be sitting on one right now if you're lucky. So, what's the moral of the story? Keep your eyes peeled. Whether you're hunting for rare pennies or simply collecting coins for fun, you never know when the next big score might happen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with more tips and tricks on rare coins and how to spot those hidden gems worth big money, go ahead and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. I'll see you in the next video, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be showing off your $1 million coin. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So, have you ever heard of a penny that's worth more than your car, your house, or maybe even a vacation to somewhere tropical? Well, brace yourself, because today we're diving into a coin that could put your entire wallet to shame: the 1979 mint Mark Lincoln penny, currently valued at a whopping $1.4 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.4 million. For a penny. That's not just a lucky find, that's a jackpot now. I know what you're probably thinking: a penny? Seriously? $1 million penny? Is this a prank? But trust me, this is real, and today, I'm going to break down why this coin is a treasure hunt waiting to happen. So grab a snack, kick back, and let's get into it. Because, by the end of this video, you might just be rifling through your old pennies to see if you've got a future fortune sitting in your change jar. Alright, let's get into it. The 1979 mint Mark Lincoln penny. You've probably seen one of these a million times before, right? It's just another penny, with Honest Abe's face staring back at you, wondering why he's still stuck in your wallet. Well, surprise, this penny could be worth more than you ever imagined, and now, to understand why this little copper nugget is worth $1.4 million, we need to talk about rarity. You see, it's not just any 1979 penny that's worth this much. It's a specific type of error coin, one that wasn't supposed to be out there. There's a little minting mistake that makes this penny special, and that's what turns it from pocket change into something that could change your life. The 1979 penny was supposed to be struck with the usual fine details. But somehow, during the minting process, a batch of these pennies got stamped with what's called a double die error. In simpler terms, Honest Abe's face looks a little more, well, double. It's kind of like if you tried to take a picture, but your camera glitched and gave you two of the same image. Except, in this case, it's a penny with two faces of Abraham Lincoln. Now, it may sound small, but this error makes the coin rare and valuable. This penny didn't just slip through the cracks of the US Mint like a regular mistake, it slipped right into the hands of some very lucky collectors who realized that this wasn't just another penny. This was an investment in a shiny little piece of history. The kind of piece that could fetch upwards of $1.4 million in today's market. Let's break it down a little more. The 1979 penny with the double die error is actually so rare that only a small number of them were ever discovered. We're talking about fewer than 100, and these are in pristine condition. So, if you happen to find one in your pocket change, consider yourself in the same league as those lucky few who've struck gold, or, should I say, struck double gold. But wait, I've got a story for you. It was a few years ago when I was visiting my aunt's house. She's the kind of person who has 1 million old coins tucked away in a drawer somewhere. She swears that someday, she'll find something valuable, but I always thought, she's just hoarding old pennies and nickels like most people do. Well, one day, she handed me a little bag of coins and asked me to take a look at them. Sure enough, buried in the mix was a 1979 penny. I almost tossed it aside, thinking it was just another regular penny. But then, something caught my eye: the way the image of Lincoln looked a little off. I didn't even know what I had at the time. But now that I'm looking back, I wish I had taken it more seriously. Who knows? Maybe I was holding onto $1 million coin without even realizing it. If you're curious about how to spot a coin like this, here's the tip: look for the doubling effect. If you notice that Abraham Lincoln's facial features look like they're shifted or doubled, then you could be dealing with one of these ultra-rare 1979 error pennies. And yes, I'm going to keep saying error pennies because you're going to want to remember that part. It's the key to this coin's value. But of course, not all 1979 pennies are worth $1.4 million. The ones that are valuable have to be in fantastic condition. So if you're just casually looking through a jar of pennies from your childhood, don't get too excited just yet. You've got to make sure it's in near perfect shape, with that double die error clearly visible. Alright, let's talk value. You found a 1979 penny with that double die error, now what? Well, the price of these bad boys can fluctuate, but at the moment, we're looking at a range of $1 million to $1.4 million if the coin is in top-notch condition. And let's be real, if you happen to come across one of these, you've pretty much hit the coin jackpot. But, of course, make sure you get it appraised by a professional before you start daydreaming about your new mansion now. I know what you're thinking, do I need a magnifying glass and a super microscope to check my pennies? Not necessarily. A good way to spot the error is by looking closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust on the coin. If they appear a bit blurry, or like they've been stamped twice, then you're looking at a winner. But hey, if you don't have one of these pennies in your collection, don't worry. There are always new opportunities to find rare coins out there, whether it's digging through your grandma's coin jar or going on a treasure hunt at garage sales and coin shops. And remember, there are other pennies that are worth serious cash, too, so don't just stop here. So, there you have it, the 1979 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a true gem in the world of coin collecting. Who knew a penny could be worth so much, right? Now, before you rush off to check all your old pennies, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tips on how to find hidden treasures like this. I've got more crazy valuable coins coming your way, and you don't want to miss out. Also, if you've ever found a rare coin or if you have a coin collection story that will blow our minds, drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Thanks for hanging out today, and as always, keep your eyes peeled for those hidden gems. You never know when you might stumble upon the next big find. Alright, imagine this, you're sitting on your couch, flipping through a pile of old coins you've inherited or maybe just found in a jar sitting in your kitchen drawer. You casually glance at one penny, and bam! You're holding a coin worth, well, a whopping $1.5 million. Yup, that's right. You could be holding a 1980 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that might be worth more than your house, car, and if you're like me, your extensive collection of Taco Bell sauce packets. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because we're diving into this treasure hunt of a penny, and you might just be holding a goldmine without even realizing it. So, let's talk about the 1980 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. It's like that one friend who never wants to reveal their secrets, but once they do, everyone's blown away. This penny, which looks just like your everyday, run-of-the-mill Lincoln cent, could be your ticket to a fortune. But don't just take my word for it. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your change like a pro and maybe even thanking your lucky stars for that dusty penny jar you've been meaning to clean out. Let's go! Alright, let's break this down. The 1980 Mint Mark Lincoln penny is special because, as the name suggests, it doesn't have a mint mark. Sounds simple, right? But in the world of coin collecting, that missing mint mark makes all the difference. Now, you might be asking, wait, why would a penny from 1980 be worth $1 million? And I get it, this is the part where I wish I had a cool, magic wand moment to explain it, but it's all about rarity, my friend. There's just something about this coin that collectors go absolutely bananas over. Now, before we start searching through every penny we own, let me give you a little context. Typically, a regular penny from 1980 is worth, well, a penny. Shocking, I know. But here's where it gets fun, this specific 1980 penny without the mint mark? That little guy's value can skyrocket to around $1.5 million in some cases. Why? Because it's extremely rare. It was accidentally minted in Philadelphia without the mint mark, and as you can imagine, the error makes this coin stand out in a huge way. I mean, who would have thought? When I found a penny on the ground last year, I didn't even bother to pick it up. I was like, it's just a penny, and now I'm sitting here, talking about a coin from the same year that could have paid for a nice vacation, maybe even to the moon at this rate. But seriously, while 1980 pennies with no mint marks are rare, they didn't all make it into collectors' hands. Some are tucked away in vaults, and others are still circulating out there, probably in some unsuspecting person's pocket. The condition of the penny, how well it's been preserved, is a huge factor in its value. A penny that's been sitting in a jar of change, scratched and worn, won't fetch anywhere near the same price as one that's been kept in pristine condition. See the difference? These two pennies are from the same year. But the one on the left, scratched up and well loved, will get you maybe a couple of cents at best. But the one on the right, shiny and nearly perfect? That could make you a millionaire. Imagine pulling one of these out of a change jar at home and realizing it's the jackpot. It's like winning the lottery without even knowing you bought a ticket. And here's the kicker, not all 1980 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Some are in better shape than others, and that means big money if you've got a pristine one. Plus, the market for rare coins is always shifting. 1 minute a penny could be worth a few bucks, and the next, it's sold at an auction for $1.5 million. It's the kind of roller coaster ride I didn't sign up for, but I'm here for it. Okay, let me tell you about my own coin hunt experience. One day, I'm going through my loose change, just like any normal person, and I come across this 1990 penny. It's shiny, nice and smooth, just one of those pennies that doesn't even look real, you know? So, I'm like, this one's gotta be special. I start Googling, getting all excited, thinking I'm about to become the next millionaire, and it turns out, it's worth 50 cents. Not quite the goldmine I was hoping for. But hey, the point is, if you don't look, you won't know. And who knows? Maybe the 1980 no-mint mark penny you're holding is one of those rare finds that'll blow your mind and your bank account. You just have to keep your eyes peeled. So, what can you take away from all this? Well, keep an eye out for those pennies, especially from 1980, that don't have a mint mark. But also, don't go diving into every jar of change thinking you've got a gold mine. It's all about rarity and condition, folks. Make sure to get that penny authenticated if you think you've struck it big. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the one holding a coin that could buy you a vacation, a new car, or a house, or, just a solid Taco Bell feast. I'm not judging. If you enjoyed this video, or if you're now staring at your pennies in a whole new light, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And hey, while you're at it, click that bell so you won't miss any tips, tricks, or strategies to find coins worth big money. I've got plenty more coin collecting secrets and tips coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss out. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Picture this, you're digging through your pocket change, just looking for some loose change to throw in a jar or maybe buy a coffee. But what if, just what if, you stumble upon a coin worth $1.6 million? Sounds like a dream, right? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving into one of those real-life coin treasure stories, the 2020 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and yes, you heard that right, it's worth a cool $1.60 million. Now, before you run off to check every penny you own, let's dive into how this little penny went from being something you could find at the bottom of your purse to something that could make you a millionaire. And trust me, it's more than just a shiny copper disc, it's a piece of history, a minting mistake, and a perfect storm of factors that brought this penny into the spotlight. So, let's start with the basics. The 2020 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, yes, we're talking about the one with that familiar portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, looking all presidential, and the classic wheat stalks on the reverse. But here's where it gets interesting, most 2020 pennies are worth just 1 cent. But a few of them? Well, they're worth a whole lot more. And that's where the 2020 D comes in. And now, you might be wondering, what makes this penny so special? A penny's a penny, right? Well, not always. The value of a coin is determined by a few things: rarity, condition, and sometimes, just plain old luck. The 2020 D Lincoln penny, in particular, became famous for a couple of reasons. First, because of a rare minting error that makes it unique. If you find one of these beauties with the right characteristics, you could be holding onto something that's worth far more than face value. Here's the thing about mint errors, they happen more often than you think, but the ones that are rare enough to actually drive up the value are few and far between. Imagine buying a brand new car, and it rolls off the lot with a wonky door. Not a huge deal, right? But now imagine that the wonky door becomes a collector's item. That's what happened with this penny. It's not just a run-of-the-mill coin, it's an error coin with a wow factor, and collectors are all over it. So, the real question is, how did this coin get to the $1.6 million mark? It all started when a few lucky collectors found these pennies with minting errors, ones that made them stand out from the regular batch of 2020 pennies. Some of these coins were struck with the wrong kind of die, leading to variations in the design, and that's what made them special. I'm going to be honest here for a second, this story actually reminds me of something that happened to me a few years ago. I was at a local flea market, and I had just picked up a few coins that looked interesting but didn't seem worth much. A guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I'll take a look at that quarter you've got there." Turns out, that quarter was a rare 1932 D Washington quarter, and I had no idea. Of course, I wasn't about to part with it, but I almost let that piece of history slip right through my fingers. It was a lesson learned, and from that point on, I've been on the lookout for coins with a bit more oomph than your average change. Back to our 2020 D Lincoln penny, those mint errors combined with the fact that it's a relatively new coin and people are fascinated by the idea of finding $1 million penny is why it's worth so much. It's all about rarity and demand. Sure, there are probably thousands of regular 2020 pennies out there, but how many of them have that perfect error or strike? Not many. Let's break it down even further. The 2020 D Mint Mark penny, in perfect condition, and with the right error, has been going for millions at auctions. But let's be real here, most people won't just find one lying around in their change jar. And if you do, you're probably thinking it's too good to be true, right? But hey, when's the last time you checked your change with a magnifying glass? I'm guilty of just throwing it all in the jar, too, trust me, I get it. But after hearing about coins like these, I'm seriously considering paying more attention to the details. If you want to spot the value in your own collection of coins, here's what you need to do. First, check for unusual mint errors. With the 2020 D Lincoln penny, you're looking for any signs of doubling, misstrikes, or unusual marks that could have happened during the minting process. If it looks off, you might just have a hidden gem. Then, make sure it's in good condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. A penny that's been through the ringer might still have some value, but a pristine example? That's the jackpot, alright. So if you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I've got some pennies from 2020. Should I start checking them right now? You bet. But, remember, not every 2020 D penny is going to make you a millionaire. Still, keeping your eyes peeled for these rarities could be worth your while. It's like a treasure hunt, and sometimes, those treasure hunts pay off big time. So here's my call to action. If you enjoyed learning about the 2020 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny and want to get more tips on finding valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and strategies to help you on your coin collecting journey. And hey, if you find one of those $1 million pennies, remember who gave you the heads up. Hey everyone! Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought, I wonder if this little guy is worth something? Well, today, you might want to take another look at that pocket change, especially if it happens to be a 2017 P Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right, penny's worth over $1 million. Don't believe me? Stick around, because I've got a story that might just change the way you see your loose change forever. So let's start with the basics. The 2017 P Mint Mark penny, which might be hiding in your jar of spare change, is actually a rare little gem in the world of coin collecting. You might be wondering, why is a 2017 penny so special? I mean, it's not like it's been sitting around for decades or survived a historical event, right? Well, here's the kicker, this penny is rare because of the fact it was minted. You see, in 2017, the US Mint did something pretty historic. They included the P Mint Mark, which stands for Philadelphia, on their pennies for the first time in over 200 years. Before that, pennies didn't carry the P Mint mark, so it was a pretty big deal in the coin world. In fact, only a limited number of these 2017 pennies were made with the P, making them an instant hit among collectors. Now, I know you're wondering, okay, so it's a little more unique than the usual penny. But how on earth does it get to be worth $1.7 million? Well, let me tell you how the value skyrocketed. The main reason these pennies are worth so much is because of their rarity combined with the condition they're in. This coin is one of the few that have been found in exceptional condition, meaning it's flawless or nearly flawless. And when you have a mint condition penny from a relatively recent year, collectors just can't get enough. It's like finding a brand new, pristine comic book from 1950 that's never been read. People want it, and they're willing to pay big bucks. So, let's talk numbers for a second. How did this 2017 penny get all the way up to a whopping $1.7 million? Well, that depends on the coin's grade, which is determined by a professional grading service. If a penny from this batch was graded as a perfect specimen, like, we're talking about no scratches, dings, or any sign of wear at all, it could fetch a pretty penny. Pun intended. It's also important to note that only a few of these pennies exist in mint condition. The vast majority of these coins went through circulation, so they're not in as great shape. If you do manage to find one in top-notch condition, the jackpot is yours, and here's where it gets interesting. You might be thinking, well, I have a 2017 penny, but it's not in perfect condition. Am I out of luck? Not necessarily. While it won't fetch $1.7 million, it could still be worth more than face value, depending on its condition. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes the value is all about how rare or unique the coin is, even if it's not flawless. But hey, let me share a quick story with you. A few years ago, I was at a local coin shop and saw a guy come in with a small bag of pennies, just the usual stuff. But when the shop owner started looking through it, you could see his face light up. He pulled out a 2017 penny and said, "This is the one." The guy had no idea he was sitting on a goldmine. He was just looking to get rid of some loose change, and boom, millions in the making. It was like watching a scene from a treasure hunt movie, except the treasure was a penny. Now, not every 2017 penny is going to turn you into a millionaire, but it's a perfect example of why coin collecting is so fun and unpredictable. You never know when you'll find something rare, even in the most unlikely places. I mean, who would have thought a tiny penny could be worth so much? Alright, so before you start diving into your change jar, let's wrap this up. The 2017 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a true treasure in the world of numismatics. If you happen to find one in near perfect condition, you might just be sitting on a goldmine worth $1.7 million. Who knew pennies could be this valuable? Keep an eye on your change, folks, but here's the thing, finding a rare coin like this isn't as easy as picking up a penny off the street. It takes a keen eye, a little bit of luck, and some knowledge of what to look for. If you want to stay ahead in the coin game and learn more about valuable coins like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more tips, strategies, and the latest news in the world of rare coins. You never know when you might find the next big thing, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Who knows? You might just inspire someone to take a closer look at their loose change. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pennies be worth more than you think. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Did you know that a simple penny could be worth more than your car? No, I'm not kidding. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1993 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. It's not just any ordinary penny, it's one that could have you holding a little fortune in your pocket. Stick around, because this penny is worth a whopping $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. Let's break it down, and I'll also share a funny story about how I stumbled upon a random coin that turned into a pretty awesome find. Spoiler alert, it wasn't this penny, but it was close enough to make me double-check every penny I have, so let's talk about the 1993 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, a penny? Seriously? How's that going to make me a millionaire? Well, let me tell you, this particular penny has a pretty rare trait that could make it worth a lot more than its face value. First, a quick refresher. We're talking about a penny from 1993, that's right, the year of the Macarena, slap bracelets, and the rise of the internet. But this coin didn't come with a mint mark like usual. Normally, you'd see a little D or S on the coin indicating where it was made, either Denver or San Francisco. But in this case, there's no mint mark. That's what makes it so special and valuable. And now, you might wonder why this specific penny is so rare. The truth is, in 1993, the US Mint produced a few pennies without mint marks by mistake. And while most of us probably tossed these coins in a jar somewhere, collectors were flipping out over the discovery. This error wasn't easy to spot unless you were really paying attention. And now, let's get to the juicy part. Why is this penny so valuable? The short answer is rarity and condition. It's estimated that only a handful of these 1993 Mint Mark pennies exist in pristine condition. Collectors pay top dollar for these, especially since they were struck without the proper mint mark. These little beauties are worth upwards of $1.8 million if you happen to find one in mint condition. You're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these $1 million pennies? Well, you've got to check closely. Flip that penny over, and instead of a D or S under the year, you'll see a blank space. That's your golden ticket, but wait, there's more. The condition of the coin matters too. It has to be in excellent condition, meaning it has no scratches, discoloration, or obvious damage. Think about it like this: you wouldn't sell a crumpled $100 bill for its full value, right? Same goes for the penny. Okay, so let me take you on a quick trip down memory lane. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my old coin jar, you know the jar where you throw your change, thinking you'll deal with it later. I was going through the pennies, sorting them by year and condition. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was looking for those super old pennies, the 1909s, the 1943 steel pennies, the ones that make your heart race a little bit, but out of nowhere, I stumbled upon this really shiny penny from the early 80s. I almost tossed it aside when I saw a tiny imperfection on the back. I thought, ugh, another worn-out penny. But then I stopped myself. Something told me to check it out more closely. Turns out, it wasn't just any worn penny, it was a rare error coin. Not worth millions, but I did get a nice chunk of change for it from a collector. The lesson? Never underestimate the power of the humble penny, so, if I can find an error coin by accident, it's worth double-checking your pennies too. Who knows? You could be sitting on a $1.8 million treasure and not even know it. Alright, let's talk about some easy tips for spotting rare and valuable pennies. If you're on a coin hunting mission, you've got to keep your eyes peeled for these key things. Make sure to check for those mint marks. Pennies without mint marks, like our 1993 friend, are the ones to watch out for. A well-preserved penny is far more valuable than a scratched-up one. So, if you've got an old penny that looks almost brand new, there's a chance it could be worth something special. Some years are more valuable than others. For example, 1909, 1943, steel pennies, and even some from the 1980s, they all have rare varieties that collectors want. Coins with double dies, misprints, or other errors are worth way more. If you find a penny with a weird shape or odd stamping, don't toss it right away. It could be an error coin, so there you have it, folks. The 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny, worth $1.8 million, is out there waiting to be found. If you've got one sitting in your collection, you might want to get it checked out before you spend it on that overpriced coffee. And if you don't have one, well, don't give up hope. There are tons of other valuable pennies hiding out there, just waiting for someone like you to find them. Before you go on your next coin hunting adventure, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips on finding valuable coins, strategies for building your collection, and funny stories of my own coin-related mishaps. Trust me, I've got some good ones. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin by accident. I'd love to hear your stories, and remember, keep your eyes on the coins, because you never know when one might just be worth more than you ever imagined.